I had this interesting exchange, with my client Dino, and we kept arguing. We kept going back and forth about, certain people in certain situations, and you know, the reason we live in such a, fake, time, like what I said in the other video, I said accepting fakeness, is because people really want to on purpose, like depression. When you look at it, like an individual can't be responsible for depression. They can't be, because in them they are trying to fix themselves. They're trying to get better. They're trying, but certain people they're around don't want them to, and it really raised some interesting sort of, can I say flags? I'm gonna quote the word flags just for this, because a lot of people like to throw the word red flags around. But you know, in this video, what we're gonna tackle is red flags, depression, cunts, and are people responsible? And the goal in this video, I think, towards the end, is to have a better understanding of it had nothing to do with me. So I want to start off by saying that I think for certain people in this day and age that accept fakeness, like I quoted in the other video, I think people that do know it's done on purpose. Like when you go out into the world and you fuck with somebody, or you pick a fight, or you start a confrontation, I've got that backwards because it's confrontation, fight, or and then what I said, but in all honesty, I think people in this day and age, they do like to play Karens. I think people of this generation like to play into the idea of the stereotype. They like to play into the patriarchy. They like to play into the idea of depression. They like to fuck with others. They like to come at people like me, and I'm just another voice. I'm just another individual. I'm just a victim. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, who gives a fuck? Shut the fuck up. But you can't let people come at you with the bullshit and not speak. You have to ride and weather the storm. Something that doesn't exist in these people. You see, I'll touch on this because I subscribe to a lot of masculinity, bro. Like I see guys getting into it on social media. I'm like, yo, I gotta, like watch them more than I should. And when I watch them, I'm like, bro, this guy is crashing out. This guy is going belligerent. This guy is snapping, whatever it is, right? I can relate to that person. The reason I want to make this video is because I want to tackle depression, but I also want to talk about why it just keeps coming back. Yeah. The reason I think depression exists in many people is because they're trapped in a system. Think about it like this. I was going to say think of it, but think about it like this. Put your thinking caps on and really evaluate your life. Evaluate your situation, right? Your circumstances. If you grow up in this world, you grow up and you don't have loving parents or loving siblings or loving cousins or any sort of loving family member, and you go to school and people treat you like shit, you're gonna go through that and accept it and think you're the problem. But you're not, but you will. Yeah. And I think that is what depression is. You see, I'm not going to say that I went through that because I was lucky to have certain family members that cared, but school was shit, bro. Like, school was one of those environments I could never get my head around. Like, people say, you gotta go to school, you gotta get your education. You do, that's true. But when you're surrounded by cunts that on purpose want to make your life miserable, that want to bring depression to you, and also think of it like this. I think it's interesting that we bring racism into this, right? I'm not an advocate for that sort of fuckery. I'm not. So if anybody around me, anybody supports supremacy, supports evil, fakes, supports cunts, racism, fuck off. I don't want to know who you are. I don't give a shit. Right? As a character, I have too much integrity. I got too much going on to think about those kinds of things. If you think about those kinds of things, you need to wake the fuck up. You need to get a life. Oh, wait. I got a better one. Get a job. Something. Do something, bro. Yeah. We're soft. And we allow depression to kick in. And refuse to take accountability. If I go through depression, I have to be able to take accountability in order to change. Now people be like, oh yeah, but what it is you were young and you didn't know. That's true. That's true. Right? I look at certain people on the internet now and I'm like, how did these kids have it easier than I did? Like, I was just an ordinary guy from an ordinary village. That's just who I've always been. I didn't want to make tapes, all these freestyles, all this channel. I didn't want nothing to do with it, right? I started because people refuse to have these conversations because they allow themselves. Individuals, over 100 people. You'll be surprised how many people watch How to Cure Depression. I'll tell you how. You move out. You get away from those losers. You get away from those creeps. You unsubscribe to these bimbos on social media. You stop listening to them. I'll hold my hands up, bro. Like, a lot of people are content creators, and a lot of them do align with some of these people, some of these content creators on some of these websites. But that's why you have to follow a guy that goes, get in the gym. Yeah. Once you have certain individuals that push you and motivate you to kind of move in a better direction than what you are, because you're going in the same direction. If you have the integrity or discipline even to make a better decision, make that decision. It's right there, bro. Like I just quoted, get away from those people. What you have to learn as an individual is you don't want to accept you have depression. Like me, I never wanted to accept that I had depression. I was a loser. I had no friends. Boys and girls didn't want to have conversations with me. That was back in the day. Now we don't know what gender is which. I'm not even going to get into that nonsense. But what I'm saying here is that we didn't know. And genuinely, kids liked the idea of a gender. That's why these grown men pretend to be kids and message kids. And the Epstein files exists because they never grew up. They never matured. They wanted to control a situation that they have no control in. They never watched any of these inspiring movies. They never wanted to be the main character. They never wanted to lead by example. They never wanted to be the leader. They never wanted to see the field. None of that. They wanted to burn crosses and hold office. They wanted to dictate to people. That's why I was fucked over when I was young. Oh yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm tackling depression in this video because it's something that we need to address. We can't pretend, because obviously I'm confused, right? I'm confused by depression. I'm like, how could I let a little thing like depression kick in when in reality it's with you. It sticks to you. When you go through life and you feel so absent, like these people that scroll, these people that go online, the people that support these bimbos on these websites, the people that support the agenda, that support the genocide of, Palestinians, the people that ignore politics, the people, I'm not watching it, but, people, you don't have to have an opinion on it, but just say, that's bullshit. Like, call it out, do something. Don't sit there and pretend it doesn't exist, because it does. I think depression is a choice. Whatever way we think about it, it's a choice. I don't want to be depressed. And I tried for so long when I got out of certain situations, I'll be honest, people be like, you know, how do you do it? You know, how do you play this character? How do you swear at these situations? I swear at agendas. I don't swear at people, because if I swore at these people, I would know about it. But these people know I'm not swearing at them.